7 cars for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Traffic and weather together on the 8th. Joe Hoskinson is back. He's got word of the grass fire in Davis.
Yeah, we're getting some reports here about this grass fire. This is right near 80 and 113 North. This is in Davis, and you'll be heard from a few listeners. Sue, the KCBS 1-4 style 415-391 KCBS reporting fire on both sides of 80. And again, this is right at 113 North, so there's a lot of smoke in the area. We'll keep an eye on this. So far, we're not seeing a whole lot of slow traffic on 80 right near 113 North or through Davis, but again, we'll keep an eye on this. We do see a little bit of slow traffic in Fairfield. This is on eastbound 80 right near Travis Boulevard. We're looking at, incident-free ride so far. Could be a new problem here. And westbound 580, we do find some slow traffic. Westbound 580 is connected to southbound 680. There could be a new problem here. Your next update's coming up at 6:08 on the Traffic Leader, KCBS.
Mostly sunny for the remainder of the day, diminishing winds into the evening and the overnight hours. It's going to be mostly clear tonight with lows in the 40s to mid-50s. Sunny tomorrow and quieter weather to start the work week on Monday. Traffic and weather together on KCBS. It is Saturday, June 21st, coming up on KCBS.
I'm Matt Bigler in San Francisco, where the city is finally making progress on cleaning up the Tenderloin.
The neighborhood is cleaner than it's ever been.
I'm Jack Barris at an annual summer Oakland tradition that had no shortage of attendees.
We expect between 15,000 to 20,000.
And President Trump is set to address the nation after U.S. stealth bombers attacked several Iranian nuclear sites. I'm Brian Goebel. CBS is next.
When you need to know, KCBS AM, KFRC FM, and HD1, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and Odyssey Station.
It's 6 o'clock.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm Peter King. President Trump has effectively said time's up for Iran. Just over an hour ago, he announced that U.S. planes have bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Sources tell us that B-2 bombers hit them with so-called bunker buster bombs, 2 per target. More for CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Keeley.
President Trump just announced this on Truth Social just not very long ago, and what we're trying to do is see if there's any satellite imagery or anything out that would have been taken in real time as those B-2 bombers would have bombed those nuclear plants, especially Fordow, which was a place that would require the stealth B-2 bomber to carry a 30,000-pound bomb over it to bust into the depths of that nuclear plant that's built into a mountainside.
The president will address the nation in an hour. There are many questions, of course, without answers yet, including how Iran might possibly retaliate. Stephen Zunes is director of Middle Eastern Studies at the University of San Francisco.
Since Iran cannot attack the United States directly, they will presumably begin targeting American assets in the region. There are close to 40,000 American troops within a few hundred miles of Iran who could be targeted by missiles, drones, and whatever else. In addition, there are these pro-Iranian militia in Iraq and elsewhere, essentially proxy forces.
And of course, we will have much more on this story as the night goes on. This may be the understatement of the year.
Summer's here, and so is our first
heat wave of the year.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams at 79 there now, but an extreme heat warning will go into effect tomorrow with temperatures in the high 90s and then past the 100-degree mark Tuesday. If misery loves company, New Yorkers will have lots of it. National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard.
Records are possible from portions of like Minnesota, so the Midwest, all the way into the Mid-Atlantic. On Monday alone, could be seeing over 50 records set and stretching from Chicago towards D.C., New York City included as well.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a law requiring his state's public schools to display the Ten Commandments. The debate in the Texas State House sounded like this.
The very way we treat others as a society come from the principles found in the Ten Commandments.
This just seems like we are trampling over the freedom of religion.
The move comes a day after a federal appeals court threw out Louisiana's version of the same law. Repeating our top story, President Trump says U.S. planes have bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites. He'll talk to the nation in an hour. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Teachers routinely are known for giving back both in and outside the classroom, and the end of the school year is the beginning of a new chapter in that vein for former National Teacher of the Year. Here's CBS's Steve Kathan.
Al-Hassan Suso has received several awards for teaching.
I teach in the South Bronx. The district I teach in is the 4th Congressional District in the United States.
He's won praise from students and contemporaries.
You know, there's never a moment that he isn't invested in his class and his students and in his school.
Now, the New York Times reports he's devoting a $25,000 award he won to fund a teacher prize in Gambia, his country of birth. He had hoped to use the State Department grant, but that's apparently now a victim of Trump administration cutbacks. Suso has sent money previously to help teachers in Gambia, a country where around 90% of kids are not taught reading and math. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
And I'm Peter King, CBS News.
It's 6:05 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. Windy with an elevated fire risk through tomorrow morning. Then the wind eases up. We'll be a little warmer inland tomorrow. Good evening. I'm Liz St. John. Here's what's happening. As we've been reporting, President Trump announced on his social media platform, Truth Social, that U.S. airplanes have bombed 3 locations in Iran this afternoon. In the post, President Trump says U.S. planes bombed sites in Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan, areas suspected of housing underground nuclear facilities. Move comes after the president said he would wait 2 weeks until making a decision whether to attack Iran at the behest of the Israeli government. For more, we're joined on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline by Kayvon Harris, Associate Professor of Sociology at UCLA and author of A Social Revolution, Politics and the Welfare State in Iran. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Liz.
Does this move essentially scuttle any deal that the U.S. and Iran may have been working toward for the regime to abandon any nuclear ambitions? Is diplomacy still on the table or no?
Well, it's very difficult to tell what the future holds. It's still the middle of the night in Iran. We're unsure about the full extent of the U.S. attack on Iran. Nevertheless, a week ago when Israel began its attack on Iran's military establishment and nuclear facilities, The United States was in the process of negotiation with the Islamic Republic of Iran for over 5 weeks. The entire political class in Iran was under the impression that those negotiations were going to prevent such an attack. The fact that the attack happened and now that the U.S. has joined makes it very unlikely that they'll return to the negotiating table right away. Also, the Iranian government itself has said, why return to the table if they are currently under attack? And although it's unclear what the Israeli government intends to do, it seems like they're going to continue aerial bombardment of the country. So it seems unlikely for the time being, and I imagine your listeners could put themselves in the same seat if the United States was being attacked by another country who we want to negotiate the day after.
So what do you think is the likelihood that Iran retaliates, specifically targeting U.S. assets or interests over these attacks in the region?
It's certainly likely, in as much as the Iranian government has warned the United States that if they joined this operation, that U.S. interests in the region, which include not only bases in the Gulf and in Iran's neighbors, but also the many other places where the U.S. has presence, that those would be viable targets for an Iranian response to an attack. But on the other hand, the Iranian government is in a very difficult situation. They've never had military capacity to the same extent as Israel. So it's unclear what the response will be. Nevertheless, they did warn it. And so it's unclear what the Trump administration has told the president about the likely responses to this attack. And it's also unclear what the United States government knows about what might happen next. But it certainly is on record that it's a possibility. And although it seems from at least President Trump's Truth Social posts, as well as it seems like he's about to give a speech in about an hour, that he thinks this is over, this might just be the beginning.
And what do you think is going on with the citizens of Iran and their relationship with their current leadership, with what's been going on the last few years? What do you think will happen? Does that weigh in?
Well, many of your listeners probably know, and certainly many of the Iranian Americans who live in the Bay Area are well aware that over the last decade, there's been many waves of social protests by Iranians in the streets of Iran to reform or change their government, demands for all kinds of changes on social policy related to women, rights, etc. And that was a process that galvanized many Iranians in the United States to help support and give solidarity to those movements. It's unclear to what extent, the internal process for pushing for political and social change can occur in a state of formal war. So on the inside of Iran, it seems to be that the response by many Iranians has been to both, in a period of anxiety, uncertainty. Of course, there's also been death and destruction in Iran, as well as in Israel, with the responses by the two countries to each other. One of the main responses, which is probably understandable by Americans, is to rally around the flag in defense, not necessarily of the state, but of the nation, at least for the time being. Although, of course, there is disagreement about, what is to be done. But whereas people could protest in the past, it's unclear what people can do, given that the situation is largely happening over their heads.
All right, and just a couple more questions. Turkish and Pakistani leaders have expressed concern over Israel's attacks on Iran and the potential involvement of the U.S., and now that has happened. What do you think will come of that?
Well, Iran's neighbors in the Persian Gulf, as well as in the broader Middle East, over the last few years have been pursuing a better relationship with the Islamic Republic in the hopes that the diplomatic route could bring Iran back in from an antagonistic relationship with these countries. And we're actively encouraging the United States to pursue the route of negotiation. I wonder what some of those countries and those leaders feel today. So the region, it seems, has been duped as much as Iranian negotiators and the government itself over what's been going on the last few weeks. So it remains to be seen how they'll respond, or how they'll respond also in the medium term when, promises from the United States that diplomatic options are available only to be rescinded, is something that a lot of other countries may remember. I would also imagine, also know that for U.S. citizens that, our government has attacked another country without any congressional approval. It's not unprecedented, but nevertheless, something that if U.S. citizens feel that this is something that, should have happened, it's also a big surprise to many of us who were told in the campaign that, this particular administration is not interested in pursuing another war in the Middle East.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the air with us and sharing your insight this evening.
Thank you very much.
Kayvon Harris, Associate Professor of Sociology at UCLA and author of A Social Revolution, Politics and the Welfare State in Iran. And again, President Trump announcing on his social media that the U.S. has bombed 3 sites in Iran, Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan, areas suspected of housing underground nuclear facilities. We're going to get you caught up on KCBS traffic and weather together. Where are we going, Joe?
I want to go to Davis. Fire crews are working a fire here. This is along 80 near 113 North, right near UC Davis. We have confirmed a couple ramps that are closed. Southbound 113 to eastbound 80 in Davis has been closed. And if you're on East 80, the off-ramp to UC Davis also closed. The fire